DC here. Hi, guys and gals. Hope you're well. It is Monday, and I know it's been quite a few Mondays since I've said that. So, quickly just to say is that we'd been away to Canada. Most of you will know it was for the funeral of my mother-in-law, and while we were there, we stayed over with family for a few weeks. But now we're back, and it's Monday, and on Mondays I very often do a few tags, and well, this Monday will be no exception. I'll be starting off with Jasmine's Monday tag. Hi there, Jasmine. Good to be back, actually, and looking forward to doing your tag, and I hope you're well. And let's just get right into it. Okay, so question one. Let me see here. Something you did as a kid that you wish you still do, or still, yeah. Well, when I was a kid, we would take our bicycles and go off. Actually, I think it's the same thing as Jasmine said. We would go off, actually, and we would put a fishing pole, and we'd go off to different places, and we'd go fishing. And it was a real pleasure as a kid. We'd go quite a few children in the neighborhood, actually, on our street, and we go off to one or two little lakes, ponds, not really lakes, more ponds. So this was not river or we did have some brooks, but we were mostly going in this case into ponds, and in those ponds there would be perch and catfish, but the smaller type of catfish. So these two, sometimes trout. I say sometimes, but a trout was really essentially in the brooks. Yeah, and that was fun. And we'd come back, and we would usually, when we could, we'd make a little fire, and we would grill the fish straight on the fire. Now, why couldn't I do it now? I live in Switzerland, and fishing, like everything else in Switzerland, you kind of have to have a permit, and this and that, and just basically there is just not the possibility. It's as simple as that. There isn't. Even though we do have a few lakes and things like that, we don't have like the multitude of little ponds. And even if there is that one, it's right next to where I'm walking, there aren't any fish in it. And even if I wanted to get into it, I wouldn't be allowed. Yeah. So that's something. Yeah. And as Jasmine said, there was just a whole peace and quiet of it, and there was a social aspect to it as well. Since we were kids, we weren't yet teenagers when we were doing that. We had a whole bunch of liberties then that kids don't have now. Okay, that was question one. Question two. When do you feel most at peace? Wow. When do I feel most at peace? I guess it would be there are times when I'll feel most at peace if I'm just sitting in my chair and doing nothing and just taking in the blessings that were given to us. Sometimes, other times, just frankly, very simply, is when I'm with the family and just sitting at the table and watching the family. Again, it's looking at the blessings that have been giving to us. That's not actually such an easy question, because it could vary. It might not always be at the same moment. Okay, so we're going to question 3. Something you admire people doing. I guess that's another difficult question in a way. I do. There was a time when I would admire very much successful people that were able to multitask and have both a successful and professional life. But you know what? Over time, most of the people that I thought were doing all those things actually weren't. They were usually being negligent, and one of them or not. I think what I admire the most in people is when I see people that are able to give unconditional love. Unconditional love, it can be actually in the way that they are acting with others, with their family. I would say that is what I admire very much with others. Question 4. Something you are proud that you accomplished. Oh goodness. Once again, pride is not always the best thing, I guess. I would say that I'm happy and proud of the life that we have made, Mrs. DC and myself, living here in Switzerland, getting through the challenges that we had to go through to basically settle ourselves in a new country and have the children that we have. Part of that was accomplished because I had done my PhD and had the degree that I had. I would not have been able to have the position that would have made us be able to live here, I suppose. So, I guess those things, put it all together, makes me happy. I don't know if I should say proud. I don't know. Pride is not actually such a great thing. Actually, at times it usually brings you down. Okay, question 5 and last. A life lesson that you have learned. Trusting God. Certainly one that I've learned over the years, and it's not always an easy one. Actually, trust as a whole is didn't Jasmine talk about trust? Trust as a whole is a difficult issue. Being trustworthy and trusting. Very often you think that you can trust and you can't. I found over the years though that trusting God is something that I can count on. So is that it? Yeah, it is. And I am up to 9 minutes. That's good enough. Thank you, Jasmine, for another challenging set of questions. Or maybe I'm just out of it and I haven't done enough videos in the last few weeks. Thank you very much. Take care, everybody, and bye-bye.